Bitte? Ja, ja. Okay. Okay. Hallo, herzlich willkommen hier auf der Boot 2025, Sonntagabend, und ich habe die Ehre, hier mit einem sehr guten Freund, einem Geschäftspartner und dem Entrepreneur des Jahres von Finnland, ganz wichtig, also ganz viele Sachen. Das ist mir das Allerwichtigste, zusammenzustehen. Wir sind seit 10 Jahren zusammen, arbeiten wir mit Axopar. Wir waren vor 10 Jahren hier auf der Messe und haben das bekommen, was wir gestern Abend nochmal zusammen bekommen, nämlich den European Powerboat of the Year. And this is like a great honor to be a part of your team, your dream, your way since the last 10 years. And then here again with like the same basic boat. You invented the boating new 10 years ago, and since then it was a long journey to have now the 29 last year as the premier here, and now she was last night awarded of the European Powerboat of the Year in a very strong competition group. And this must be feeling like you done everything right. I know you did, because I'm the one who also gained some positive things out of that, good sales.
Yeah, so I would say, first of all, the European Powerboat of the Year Awards, that's like the Oscars of the boating industry. And of course, one thing to really remember, 10 years, we've been working 10 years with this brand and with this model range. And for us to, Patrick, you're a major part of this, because you're also helping us getting the valuable customer feedback and giving just the information to us how we can improve and make better products going forward. So the European Powerboat is like a testament of our good collaboration between and having a really tight-knit grid network of dealerships all around the world that takes good care of their customers and listens to them, so that we can also improve in that sense.
So let's say the 28 was something revolutionary new, and the 29 is now like a sum of loads of development in the last 10 years, plus another revolution on top, because so many things changed on top. But all this information which was gathered the last 10 years with the Mark I, with the Mark II, was also put into that boat, and plus added many new things. And you said it yesterday in the presentation, what is like the modularity was from the start, your idea. You put it, I would say, into the world market. It was not there in the boating industry before. But now you brought it to a different stage level, because you have now how many varieties?
So very simple to calculate. So it's very interesting to see how much we've evolved on the modularity. So
maybe we should go up for that.
Yeah,
we go. Then it's easier to show a little bit about it.
But if you now take the Axopar 29 range, the 28 cross cabin, the Suntop, and the CCX. So think of this as one model.
So that's the cross cabin now, we're standing here.
And this was the particular boat that won the European Powerboat of the Year yesterday. And it's to us the #1 most important boat in our fleet. So the 29 cross cabin and the 28 cabin has been the best sellers over years and years and years. And this boat,
how many, you guess?
Of 28 and 29s in total, I would say we're closing up to 3,000 something, 4,000 units.
And all over the world.
All over the world.
And cabin boats all over the world. Cabin boats in regions where people have never seen a cabin boat. So, funny wise. So
and with such a wide clientele. So just 5 minutes before I walked here, I have the chief editor of one of the leading yacht magazines, sailboat magazines in the world. And I'm talking to her, and she's saying, you should know how many sailors drive Axopars in Australia and US, like renowned world-class championship.
The first one I remember was Sir Ben Ashley.
Yes.
You had one. I saw that in the Bermudas 8 years or 7 years ago.
And that, the Ben Ainsley's Axopar 28 cabin is probably the one cabin boat that has traveled the world the most. Because that boat I've seen in Bermuda, I've seen it in New Zealand, I've seen that boat in UK, so he takes that boat everywhere he goes sailing. So that is a boat that really gets all the world around.
But
talking about the modularity, so that was the whole point. So when you have an option to select the cross cabin, the Suntop, or the CCX. And
that's about mainly the roofs, let's say.
That's mainly about the accommodation in or the style of boats. And then when we look at what sort of foredeck options or accommodation options or off-deck options you want to have, we can offer 308 different configurations for our customers with this. And this is such a huge development that goes into it. So making a boat that is simple with one functionality, with one option, so more or less we're going to have an aft sofa and that's it. That is so easy to do, but when we do the complexity of this modularity in a high volume production, that also takes great care in making all these modules fuse and function together with all the other modules and options we have, that is such an immense endeavor to do, which is also why there's not that many doing the extent of modularity that we do.
And I can confirm that because it's like the time between we do like slot allocation, means I tell you how many 29s I'm going to buy from your company, and then but I have the time between I need to finalize this building slot into a specification. And on the other hand, the complexity you have, it's quite impressive how little this time is. And this is also very important for the customer because he can then don't need to buy or decide for a specification 3 years in advance to get a boat. So it's like this is all so much imperfection that anyway it's like we're talking about 2 to 3 months time. But not from the specification, we talk about the end delivery, there's transport in between and so on. And this is very important because you can then follow also the market and now we can still now specify boats which we delivered in summer. And there are not many boat builders can do that, especially not in this modularity.
And also one thing is, of course, also to make in consideration that we modify and enhance our boats throughout every single year. So many manufacturers, they bring out a new boat model and that boat model stays more or less unchanged for 5, 6, 7 years.
And we could have done that with the 28 because the 28 was selling very well and it was such a good boat. It was still better than 80% of the competitors most likely, maybe 100%. That's taste. But again, it was so good.
But for us it's when we get the knowledge of what people want and we find out how to do it, we really want to push it out and we really want to do it. So giving a very interesting hindsight, in general, when you make a new boat model, you stay with that boat model in average in the past 10 years with one model. And this is something we could have done with the 28, so one model, but Axopar has done in 10 years 3 generations of the same product, and that just tells you about the speed of development and the speed of refinement we put into the process in order to provide better
which
boats.
you need volume all over the world, because that only works if you produce a certain amount of boats to pay off the investment of every new model to develop. So that's a very, very important message.
And in addition, Axopar as a company, we've been profitable every 10 years from the very first beginning we started. And what we've done is that we've reinvested that money always, every year back into the company. And that's why we more or less have our own production facility that we acquired last year with 1,200 employees, making approximately 50% of all Axopars built there. But also in a way that showcased that we are one of the absolute most stable financially boat manufacturers in Europe right now, because of our dedication and devotion to reinvest the profit into development of the company,
and not an equity like that it goes in shareholders out. So this is very nice to hear.
This is from the passion of us, and I hope that this also resonates well with your customers, because when you buy an Axopar, there is a certain guarantee in that sense that we really push for to have one of the financially most stable and strongest companies in there.
And when you see yourself this journey from the 28 to the 29, and I know this is the very common size, this is your, you did the 28 because this is a size which very well fits in the archipels in Finland.
Yes.
So when you consider yourself, you have all the options of driving the boat, but I think, because I can see how much detail work you put in this boat, I think this is the size you like for a boat personally, isn't it? Like you could choose every of the boats.
Yeah.
But the 29 is something you always call it the Swiss knife.
Yes, the Swiss Army knife of the waters.
Because it gives so much.
Yes. And it's, in a good way, it's a very hard size to do this functionality and embed all the modules into, because the bigger boats you have, the more space and freedom you have to play with things. But the smaller, the more compact the boat, the harder it is to get the boat functional, still with all these modules and the modularity. But when it comes to the size, the drivability, the handling of the 29 is closer to many other boats there in the size range of 32, 34 feet. And that's why, you know, we put so much effort also into refining the hull hydrodynamics and the geometry of the hull, so that it really is capable of taking any sort of weather conditions you have out there. And the 29, especially today, feels like a clearly bigger boat than the 28. And when you drive the 29, it feels almost closer to a 37 than it is to a 28.
Fully true. Like the driving, and you told me that this morning, so I just want to repeat that our Greek dealer told you that he was in the most horrible conditions.
Yes,
somewhere.
4 meter waves.
Yeah, 4 meters. He was just amazed about into this situation, because in the end, 29 footer and 4 meter waves, it should not be there.
No.
It was maybe a navigation fault or whatever. We don't want to comment that, but in the end, he was, you know.
So he is of course a devoted Axopar dealer, and which is very funnily enough, there are many days when you have the most beautiful days out at sea in Greece, when it's usually following bad weather. And there is nobody out there, because nobody wants to go out there. And he's told me several times that he goes out in bad weather and there's an Axopar meeting him, and another Axopar, and a third Axopar. But there are mostly only Axopars out in the Greek archipelago when the wind is out there. And that also means that these guys, they get out and they get to enjoy the nature when there is nobody else out there boating. But for him, he really wanted to test the boat, make sure that you know, understand the difference between the 28 and the 29, because we did so much work in fine-tuning the drivability of the 29 just for these hard weather conditions that you can face anywhere around the world because of the mistral and the winds coming and shifting. Some areas you actually put the tide on top of that is really creating confusing seas. So how you can make a boat that feels safe in any conditions anywhere around the world that anybody can drive.
And this is really much, I think, also supported if you take it as a cabin boat. That's why the cabin or the cross cabin is so much used all over the world.
It's just easiest boat. So close the doors, it's a fully enclosed boat. Open it up, and it's easy to come and easy to leave, easy to maintain, easy servicing. What you see is what you get. So it's really honest and true. Whatever you see inside is all made for purpose.
I can just underline this fully. We have also in Mallorca nowadays people in the, like we started with 37 as you named it, cross cabin, selling the first cabin boats in the Mediterranean, but now we're also selling 29 cross cabins in the Mediterranean. So people are more open for cabin boats in the south as they see many benefits in it.
Yes.
In the enclosed.
Mainly wind protection, chill protection, spray protection. Yeah. Those are the three key factors. And because of the sunroof, the openable canvas, because of the extra wide sliding doors now on the 29, it really feels like an open boat. And also, this is the point that they are willingly taking a cabin boat now because we have so good exterior spaces on the boat. So just have a look at this one, for example, with the Mediterrana right now. That we launched now in Düsseldorf the Mediterrana edition, which is an upgraded upholstery and, let's say, comfort edition on the 29. Just to give you an idea, the modularity on the 29 is very vast in the front section, and what we do is try to make the best livable boat inside and the best comfortable sun lounging boat outside with the Mediterrana. So having the different options you see on the sun top, we have the table lifted up, and here we have the table folded down, and we have a sunbed. This really creates you a great sensation of space. And just to give you an idea of the size, because camera doesn't always tell you the right things, just looking at the size of the sun pad on the 29, I can easily accommodate 3, 4, 5, 8 people in the front for a perfect day out. And this is still a fully enclosed, all-weather protected cabin boat. And just, easy walk around walk deck. So when we're walking around, every shape even on the glass fiber, is made for a certain purpose to guide me around the boat. And then, always having somewhere to hold on to when I'm around. But again, now with the aft cabin, we have 2 sun lounges on the boat, and we have possibility to sleep 2 + 2 persons on a 29-foot cabin boat, and still being all weather.
I really like this multi-storage aft cabin solution where I can open the hatch. And this was even on the first 28.
Yes.
It was in the very first boat it was even realized, but it was not so well done. And then I think you went through a different solution which lasted 6, 7, 8 years. But now this I really like.
To bring this back, because the whole idea with the Axopar is all about modularity and the multifunctionality. And now, of course, you can have the multi-cabin as a sleeping area, but you can also use this for storage.
And for both, you just take the mattresses out, and then you have a big storage.
Yes, and again, just looking at how you hold on to the lid, everything is with a functionality. So more or less, boats are always rocking. So we have handholds even on this, so that even if I'm grabbing things from here, I always have something to hold on to with the stability. So it's these sort of small things that takes you almost like 10 years to get and make them functional.
What is your favorite, twin or single?
I'm still on the single 400s, V10 engine. That is my favorite, but I really love driving the dual engines as well. You get more torque from the dual engine, and you get that small additional oomph when you use the dual engines. Then when we sell the boats a lot around the world, dual engines are also in a way of redundancy, so that if you have a failure on one engine, you can still link home on the second engine. That's.
But you have a bigger. We have a question or 2 questions, so we should maybe follow.
Yeah, we do that.
First, regarding the Axopar 29, how many people can fit on the boat?
By CE, it's
2 questions. CE and what do you say?
Yeah, Tom, you can't hear it, but what do you, Tom? You can tell me. What do you recommend in the charter? You normally do 6, I would say. 6 people, I would say, is a comfortable way of being on board.
Yes.
6 sitting in the front. Yes. 6 could be 3 sunbathing in the front, 3 in the back, or 2 in the back. Like 6 people, I would say, is easy. You can be 8 people, but 6 people, I would say, is a comfortable size.
I would say that.
What else?
About the camera, if you offer a camera for this model?
Yes, this is going to be the OmniSense Micro. Yes. It's not there yet, but it's working on it. So it's a new company which is already on the bigger model is used on the Bravos boats, and there's a smaller one which is it's a night vision. It's not a thermo camera. It's like with it's not infrared. It's the Restlicht in German. Restlichtkamera. I don't know how to say that.
Yeah. Light enhancing camera.
Light enhancing camera, and it's not turnable to make it in a suitable price for the boat size.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But if you then walk around the Suntop, for example.
Yeah, we have a bigger bathing platform. I think this is very important.
So when you go with the single engine, the steel frames get smaller, and then the bathing platform gets bigger. So that's one of the benefits with the single engine as well. So you get that access to the water way easier.
Top speed is, I can say that it's very, very similar.
Yes.
Noise is the single engine. It's just lower noise. The vibration is just this V10 is just amazing. You can put a bottle of wine or a glass of wine on top, and it will stay.
Yeah.
So this is.
And that's the main difference between the dual engines. So if somebody who wants that engine roar, the sound, they go with the duals. But if you really want to cruise in comfort, the V10 is a good solid choice in there.
I really like the V10.
On the Suntop this year, we also brought now the fender box modules, which we also do in 3 different variations today. So you can have a live well or a top-loading fridge with a sink. So these are a part of the modularity and the ingenuity that we do with Axopar, so that you can select and choose different off-deck variations, but now being smart and utilizing all this into the fender box, you can now have any configuration you want.
I think this is also new on the 37, or
Yes.
started more or less on
It
the
started
44 and 45.
and from there we brought it to the 29. We found that it functions also very well on the 29, and then we moved it over to the 37.
And I really like this because that was always a little bit missing. It's like
Yes.
a place where you could, make
Yes.
yourself a small salad or cut a bread, or like this little area where everybody knows you can grab something there, you can
Yes.
cut a sausage or whatever. So this
to
is
me-
really there.
And to me, the solution of the grill is I'm really liking this type of solution, because now there are great grill manufacturers out there, so there is no use for us to start manufacturing grills ourselves. But this is a US manufactured Magna grill, and now together with the Burlington Quick Fix, I can easily have a grill with me anywhere on the boat. So wherever I put a Burlington Fix, it can either be on the handholds or it can be integrated, or I can take the grill with me on the beach. This is to me the perfect solution to make food and cook on a 29.
Absolutely agreed.
And just store it away when it's not in use.
I really like this idea of this U sofa setup.
Yes.
Now the table being put down,
Yeah.
and being able to lie down here forward facing,
Yes.
which is like the boat will
Again,
be
to showcase the size. This
It's
is,
like
this is a
the-
huge area.
really huge area, and you have
there's-
still without the sunshade, you have the full protection
Yep.
of the roof, even
Yep.
not being putting a sunshade out, which is the biggest difference, pro and contra,
Yep.
to the CCX, where I would be sitting outside here,
Yep.
if I not put the sunshade on.
Yep.
This is, I think, when people ask, beside the window, what is the biggest difference between these two boats?
It's the roof.
It's the roof,
It's
length,
yes.
and the protection.
And the openable roof on this
Yes.
one, and that's also why I love the model range of all these three models, because they truly offer three completely different choices between each other.
And then this I really found an amazing idea, is that you can take this out here,
Yep.
and then we can
Turn it around.
turn it around. Maybe do it together
Yeah.
and place it here in the front.
Yep.
Or you can place it here,
we can
sorry.
place it
Yeah,
in the
this
back.
is one more version.
This was one of the solutions.
Yeah.
So for any water sports or any just lounging around, we can sit here 1, 2, 3 persons facing backwards. So
When- with
really
kid-
sociable space.
And
Kids,
still with somebody could with a cushion in the back still sit forward facing
yes,
here.
yes, that
So this
for
is
sure.
still possible.
Yes.
So we can
And even if you want to then really make the sunbed even bigger, we can even remove these ones. So now you have, I don't know, this is 2-point-something meters of a wide sun pad all in all.
so we
it's-
can
it's-
lie in. I can lie in this direction here.
Yes, yes, full length. And again, with the backrest, now the table is not fully fixed down, but as you see, we have a table down here. The table is with a high-low, so we can put it in 2 different positions. And what we can now do, to get this one down, putting this one. So we put this one down, and now we make this into a proper sunbed. And then, which I also like with this, let's move this one back.
Yes, I will do.
So if you take that one out, and we move it in here. So this is one of my favorites, to be able to put it in here. And then just have it a second
Are you in? Yeah.
here. And now, really for a day out sun lounging with friends and family, just enjoying the day, this is an ingenuitive solution that I've not seen on any boat ever done. This was firstly done for the 29. I'm so proud that we were able to make it in this fashion. This is truly a new layout.
Fully agree. Fully agree. As you're also in the center of the boat, you're below the roof, so and you still have enough space
Yes.
with this setup
Yes.
that you can put a wakeboard, you can put a stand-up paddling board. Everything is
Bikes,
still
whatever.
there's enough space here
Yes.
and
Yes.
storage below.
Yes.
And you have the sunbed.
Yes.
So we have a question.
What engines do you recommend for the 29 series for best performance?
Performance means top speed, as I said, very similar. Fuel consumption is also very similar.
Yes.
So performance means in the end top speed. Like if you performance means you want to
The
feel the
last-
boat and so on, then I would say
Dual
that the
engine.
dual engine.
Yes, because
Bec-
you have two propellers in the water. If you want to drive sporty,
Yes.
the dual engine will push you through the
Mo-
corners. with
more,
more
it's
power.
like more grip in the water.
Yes, it's,
and
it's
also that
closer to a jet ski sensation than with
that's
the single
performance.
engine.
That acceleration is more
Yes.
because you have just more grip in the water.
Yes.
So definitely the twin.
Those would be my choice as
Yes,
well.
yeah.
So again, going forward, you know, we still have all the storage inside here, which people are actually probably not seeing that much, but there's a lot of ample storage all around the boat following this. So it's not that it's only cushions, it's also a lot of storage all around the boat. Other than that, I don't know, we've showcased probably already quite a lot.
We just should show the front because we have not seen that on there.
Yep.
So this is the, let's say, standard setup. What I because now you can still pass here, can open the cabin, to go inside. But what I really like, because you're not going 5 times a day on the toilet, is to take the other position.
We take this one. Also.
And now what it gives is also the table for me sitting facing forward, but also it gives much more room here.
Yes.
So you're not sitting like at the table, it's more a lounge feeling. It's more like a coffee table, and it's not a dining table anymore, as everybody can sit a little bit freer than it being fully in the front. And now you can also lower this again
Yes, and have
to
the
have
sunbed in
then
there.
a sunbed forward facing similar to the 37.
And still having access on the side.
When you come into the boat, for example, don't need to run over the sunbed, you're just passing it.
This is just a small part of the ingenuity that goes into the development of the new 29, and most likely also one of the reasons for becoming the powerboat of the year of 2025, because it's just so many functionalities that you have not seen on other boats ever before.
I
Now with
fully
the
agree.
Mediterranean, you know, we're lounging here, we have
Yes.
bigger backrest, we have pusher cushions, the size and dimensions on some of the cushions are actually extended for even more comfort. But again, we could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 persons on this boat. We were talking about how many people to bring on board.
And we would be sitting most likely under the sunshade as we see it here on the cross cabin. And yeah, having
and enjoying. So
absolute.
it's a question of, we talk about when the question came, how many people do you bring on board? One is to see for certification how many you are allowed to bring, and we just to make sure that people understand, we make this boat under CE category B. There is very, very few
Boats of this
manufacturers
size?
of this size anywhere in the world that is making them for this much tougher category of safety and regulation, that is category B. Category B yachts or boats you usually start to see after 35 to 40 foot.
Fully agree.
So this also showcased that we really push for safety and for quality in our engineering to make this work.
And this has also an influence if you look B, how many people are allowed to be in B conditions, let's say,
And in C conditions.
and in C conditions, so there's different amount of people.
Yes, and then when we go to US, when it's more or less like a captain's call, so it's on the captain's decisions how many he brings on board. But just to give you the idea, 6 persons in the front deck will sit super comfortably,
yeah.
but you could still be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6
Sitting in
person
the back, yeah, but
there
this
is no problem.
no,
So we need to understand when people ask how many people can we bring, it's always that we need to comply to CE regulations on it, and we are complying to the highest of standards.
that you imagine being stuck with these people in the waves, not hopefully 4 meter, but I think
The
3
highest-
meters.
The highest wave is actually 4 meters in category B.
Yeah, so so the Greek dealer would have been with 8 people then on board.
Yes.
And this
Yes.
needs to work.
Yes, and you need to have secure space.
And this
for
is
those
like
people.
600 kilo most likely,
Yes.
which is then in the end, what is it? How much from the weight of the boat is 3 tons, I guess, so
yeah,
like approximately 3 tons. So we are on how many percent? 20% of the weight
Yes,
added. Yes.
All right.
So let's go shortly
for
to the CCX. Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Because
What is your favorite?
this is very hard because all the models. I'm really proud of the CCX because it's not a center console, it's not a cabin boat, and it's not a suntop. It's something that you really haven't seen again done by the industry in the past. So it's the
I think it's just
the
our
versatility of the boat that just makes the whole difference. And for me, I will order a 29 for me, and I'm struggling with the decision go with a cabin because we're still living up in Finland. We can actually go with our cars on the ocean right now and drive. So just to give you an idea of the cold climates we are, the ice usually melts at 1st of May. So we have a very short season. But I'm really thinking that should I still get the CCX, because I want to be outside when the weather is nice, but then again I can extend the season with the cabin and with the Webasto heaters and everything.
would be interesting what decision you take in the end.
I need
You
to
should
make
share.
that
You should
decision
share
during
that
the
at some
show,
point.
so.
Explain me again, or I can explain as well, but I think you can even do it a little bit better. What you done with this difference here, and why have you done it, and what is the idea behind?
There is a lot of difference on the CCX compared to the other ones. The one thing is that we have a raised bow walk, so that the hull side profile on the entire way towards the bow of the boat has been raised by 5 to 8 centimeters. And we do this to, first of all, it's more of a fishing boat, so we wanted to have more height, so that when you're out there catching fish, you're feeling a higher sense of security and you have a higher position to lean on while you're fishing. But it's also for the offshore capability of raising the hull up one step. And that also means that the whole console and the floor level has also been raised by 10 centimeters. And by raising the 10 centimeters of floor, we also put in over 100 liter bigger fuel tank. So the CCX has the longest range of all boats, which is pretty natural because on the CCX, you really go long distances for fishing, or you usually go long distances for adventuring and exploring. A lot of new features on the 29 that you haven't seen on the 28 before, which is like the dimmable lights and the light packages that we have on board. It's pretty extensive. So the light bars, the off-deck floodlights, just this type of utilitarian approach, but again, showcases the amount of involvement and evolution that we do with these boats.
I really like this like, I'm a fan of this like negative window from this helm. This is really, I really enjoy that, and I like this small window on the top here, so it's gets airs inside. But this feeling, you're feeling so safe here.
Yes.
Standing here, that helm gives you such a good feeling that you, and I had this with very big rollers in front of Monaco, and I had so much fun with this boat, and it gives you, even if it's the same basic boat, it gives you a feeling of more solid way of approaching a wave in bad weather.
Yes, and to be actually honest, the CCX has the best handling of all 29s, and now we're talking minute details, but the weight balance on the CCX is at the most optimum. And we also put the CCX, we do a few upgrades on small internal parts on the CCX, because with this boat you're going to go longer distances, drive in rougher conditions. So we also upgraded a few things internally to make it a bit more stronger and robust on the CCX, which also hence explains a bit of the price difference on the CCX when you compare it to the Suntop, for example. But yeah, the windshield, first of all, you see a lot of center console boats with a standard windshield or facing inwards. And the one thing that you get with this windshield is that you get so much less glare when you're driving the boat. And the only way we could get this view, also now because we have the elongated roof, is that we now could put a skylight, which other manufacturers with a straight windshield can never do, because the wind will never catch you, it will go past you when we need to move the windshield, the skylight into this position. But yeah, very sturdy, strong,
very
strong materials, over-dimensioned sections and parts, because that is what is renowned for a center console.
Very, very cool. What can I now do in the aft deck additionally when it comes to fishing? Because again, we have many rods up here. People have seen that already, because that boat more or less was and a copy in, I just put these lights off again, in a copy in Cannes. I made a video, you made a video, but we have some options here.
So if
which
you
we
want to find out the most fishable Axopar CCX solution, you should actually have a look at the walkthrough video I did of the 29 CCX in Fort Lauderdale. There we had the boat in its US premiere, and it's the most kitted fishable boat. And actually, there's another video coming out, which I can give you a hint of now, which is Jeff Brown Yachts, also has a CCX 29, and he then went overboard with the fishability.
He did that already on the 37
He
before.
did that with the 37 angler, so if you also want to find the fishability of that one, Google Jeff Brown Yachts and the 37 angler, but he's now done the 29 version of that angler as well, and we should be getting some footage of that very soon. But the whole idea, the aft deck on the 29 CCX, you can get 7 different deck variations. So in that sense, it's the most modular boat out there, which we already touched base with the 308 different variations when you go through everything, but still 7 different deck variations, which this is now what we call the Euro version, which is the Comfort U sofa, which you saw over on the Suntop, but you can still have the standard forward-facing 4 seats with a small storage beneath. You can have it still with the aft cabin, so you can have a full fishable boat, but still
with the
an
cabin
aft
in the back,
cabin
with
cabin
4
in the
people
back.
sleeping on board.
Yes, so up to 4 people in that sense. You can have a huge live well in this area as well, which then of course clears the deck like 1 meter more aft deck area. We have a second live well in this, so instead of the wet bar, you can go with the second live well. We have an option for a sea chest that is more or less like one central unit that takes care of all the water management for all the sea chests and wash downs of the deck. And in addition, rod holders under the floor, because the hatches then also become
very
longer.
long.
And then we also launched a new sofa. So really have a look at the 29 video we did in Fort Lauderdale, because here you will see a new foldable sofa that you can sit up to 3 persons, and it's still foldable when you want to take the engines out of the water. But it's really ingenious use of space, because you can still access all the hatches even though you have the sofa in this area. So that we put some really hours into engineering to make it work.
And there's another live well below the...
No, that's a kill box. So
a kill box, sorry, yeah, I'm not so much a fishing guy. Sorry.
Whatever sort of, let's say, whatever fish you're catching, standard on the 29s, you always have this L sofa. So this section on this side, let's remove the table so you get a better view of it. So in that sense, this box in here is always an option. And you can either have it with a standard open, like a wet storage area, and this is now with a kill box. So this is an isolated box with a macerator pump that where you can fill up with ice, and then you can store the fish that you caught in this area until you get home. And then if you were fishing, you would not probably have all the cushions in here, so you would remove it, and then you would have the anti-skid in all the areas around.
So you would, again, it's all modularity, so you
Yes,
can keep...
all of these you can remove for the hardcore fishing trips, put them back when you have your family on.
Or you can also not even order them if you're saying you don't need them at
Yes.
all. So
Also with the soft decking. So if I were a hardcore fisher, I would never go with the soft deck. I would never go with cushions on many parts. But that is just the possibility that we never really force people to take options or parts of the boat that they don't want.
still you have
That
the
also has
sunshade
to
here in the front.
Yes.
In this way you can sunbath, what we just showed before,
Yep.
like sunbaths with 2 or 3 people.
Yep.
So all these options are there.
Yes.
So you can more or less please your friends
Yes.
for the fishing trip
Yes.
and please your family for the
Yes.
weekends.
Yes.
For the like water sports, for the sunbaths and everything.
Yeah.
So one boat, again a Swiss knife,
Yes.
not in the cabin boat region, so in
Yep.
the fishing or let's pleasure boat
Yep.
bathing series.
Yeah.
So very,
For sure.
very impressive.
And of course to remember that it's all about the drivability on the 29, and that's what we are really renowned on.
And what is most impressive is to see your personal engagement in this, your personal energy, because
Thank you.
people probably also very often tell that to me, you know, how can you do that? Where is this energy coming from? And where is this passion from? And it's like, I love it, and I think this is what we also have so much in common and why we like working together, because I can see that now, you know, normally I always talk the most, but when I'm doing it with you, you're even talking more than me, and I really, really thank you for that, because that I know this is driving me, this is driving my team, this is driving your team, this is driving this complete company, and so the award.
What drives me is the customers that come up to the show and just, you know, tell me the good and the bad, because I also want to hear the bad, because when I'm hearing bad things, I can always improve and I can always make things better for the next one. And it's a way of learning closely and being close to our customers and support them throughout the whole ownership of their boats, and making sure that their moments on the water are the most memorable ones.
But I would say we need also to give now the award, I think, to everybody who is involved. I would say every worker in your OEM factories, every worker inside of Axopar, every supplier, because you have very loyal supplier you have been working from the start with. It's to the dealers,
and also the customers, because without the customer feedback, the 29 range would not be the range it is today. And that is, you know, just getting the boats out there in any conceivable location in the world, and seeing that the Axopars are being extensively used all around the world, whatever the weather. Those are the things that really then creates this sort of wealth of information on how to improve, how to make things better. So
what's in the end,
thank you both for the customers for that.
But in the end made this European power boat and these boats in general even possible. So thanks to everybody, and thank you also to the jury for that trust and this vote for that great boat. Thank you, Janne, for the time. It has been a hard Sunday, and so to be sitting here with me now nearly an hour. Is there any questions we have? Then we are offline, I would say. Thank you very much. Everyone.